Hi, I'm here with Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. She's a multi-passion entrepreneur. Hi, Clarissa.
Hi, Bree. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you on here. Um, but before we get into it, I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I'd love to. So, as Bree mentioned, I'm a multi-passion entrepreneur. So, what does that mean? I have so many interests, and I'll try and be brief because I think I could go down a rabbit hole with an introduction. But I am an artist. I'm an abstract artist. I also an author. I wrote the book Painting Your Path, and I'm also a leadership and life coach. And what I would love to share with you is that throughout my entire life, I've had two threads that have just kind of woven, um, I've had woven within me, and that is being an artist and being a coach, being somebody who wants to lift others up, help others. And so in all the different careers that I've had, um, I've always tried to use my creativity, no matter what job I had, to kind of problem solve a little differently. And I just always love helping people. So, fast forward, I also have always wanted to work for myself because I never felt like I quite fit into the corporate world. Maybe you can relate a little bit to that, but I just, I don't know. I just never felt like I totally belonged there. Like early in my career, I'll just share a quick story. Early in my career, my first career was being a retail manager for a clothing company. And back then, it was all about wearing the power suit, wearing like very couture outfits. And honestly, that just didn't ever feel like me, but I still played that kind of role. And I love that, Bree, your podcast is all about taking your power back and finding your voice, getting your voice back. And I really believe that over the decades, that is just kind of where I have um, where I have finally gotten to. And so again, fast forward, I left my day job last year, 2021. And although I've been just 6 months on my own, I am just loving life so much more. And I'm just want to share with you that no matter where you are in life, no matter how old, how young you are, you you can do whatever it is that you truly desire to do, and you can paint your path. Um, and so that's just a little bit about me.
Wow. I just want to start off by saying congratulations for making such a huge leap or taking the leap and believing so strongly in yourself, because I know that it can be very scary, especially to like leave almost the what is it called there, what you're used to something, to a new world. But it's just so beautiful to hear that you're thriving and it inspired you even more. Like it just takes so much strength to get to where you are. So I want to honor that strength and congratulate you for that.
Oh, thanks, Bree. And yeah, it was a long time coming. Let me tell you, I I knew for a long time that I wanted to work for myself, and I knew that I wanted to be a coach. And although I first wanted to have that coaching experience within a corporation, which I am happy to say I did that, it really took me a long time to let go. And so if anybody out there who's listening feels that way, just keep at it, and know that it was really truly as easy as just making that decision, really being standing firm in, I am doing this. I am doing this. I'm taking my power back, and I am going to move forward in the direction of my dreams.
I love that so much. And I love the fact that you're a coach, and tell us a bit about your coaching now. How is that? What are you
Ye-
up to?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking. So the coaching that I do now is for people who, guess what, want to leave their 9 to 5. And I really enjoy working with creatives, in particular artists, writers, designers, crafters, people who have this creative gift that they want to put out there in the world, but maybe they have just been um, too afraid to do it, or maybe they have just heard from people in their world like you can't make money as an artist, you can't, there's just no way you can sustain yourself. And so those are the type of people that I am really enjoying working with. So it's kind of twofold. The first piece is creating that corporate exit plan, because the truth is you don't have to just quit tomorrow. I definitely built a long ramp for myself before I left, so I wouldn't feel stressed out about money. So I help people, you know, create that. You know, if you're the type of person who wants to take things a little slower and more methodical, so creating that corporate exit plan while creating your business on the side and building that up. So that's the type of coaching that I do.
That's that's really cool. And it's kind of funny how it goes. Well, I want to say like it goes around. Like you left your corporate job and you help others leave theirs. It's like a perfect circle. That's what I'm trying to say. A perfect circle.
Yeah, and I think nowadays, we're in what's called, I'm sure you've heard it, the Great Resignation, and I've also heard it also be described as the Great Awakening. So I think for so many people who are not happy in their 9 to 5, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody who is, if you are, fantastic, keep going. But if you are one who is really just like, you know what, this ain't for me, and I think I really want to put my work out in the world, it's your time. Your time is now, friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's one thing that I've been really loving about the now is just like I feel like we're waking up. I know it sounds kind of weird, but like we're just awakening to um that I don't have to like slave myself all day. And I don't mean to use that term, but it feels like that in a 9 to 5 with that corporate level of, you must work and they don't like if you take vacation there, there's just so much that I think that we need as humans that the corporate life maybe is something for certain people, but it's just not for everybody. So it's kind of nice that we're changing that narrative and saying, no, we don't want this. And if you do want it, like you said, it's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for me, I just always felt weird. I don't know. I just always felt weird working in that corporate space. Loved the people that I worked with, loved the people that I was able to help, but at the same time just didn't feel like I was ever able to be 100% me. And I know that has a lot to do with just my own stuff that I had to deal with and work through. But to your point, I just hated having to request time off. And having the boss say, you know what, can you not go on vacation at this time and move your vacation time? And now that I'm on my own, just the time freedom to create my schedule, to plan out when I work best, and if I want to decide, you know what, I'm taking 3 days off, I can do it. And so yeah, I just feel like this entrepreneurial journey is has been always, what I've been meant to do.
Absolutely. I'm Thank you again for sharing that piece. I was very curious because I know that I've been in corporate world and then I've been in the creative world. but now I'm now I'm back into the corporate world. But like you said, some people love it, some people don't. But it's just beautiful to see like entrepreneurs spreading their wings, like because I am also a graphic designer, but also a paralegal. So
Yeah. Hey, whatever works, use
yeah,
your talent, friend.
gotta have the creative that creative outlet, But I wanted to ask you, as you know, we just came into 2022, and we were talking about this previously before we started recording. Um, and I wanted to know, when it comes to like having, like when we start the new year off, we're like ready to go, we're running at it, and we're like, okay, this is my year, I'm gonna make it my year. But then you get to the middle of January, and January always feels like the longest month, right? What do you do when you have when you run out of steam, or you start to feel like, oh shoot? What do you do in that kind of scenario?
Yeah. You know what? First, I just want to say it is so normal. It is absolutely so normal. And I live in the mountains. So I live by this trail. I'm just going to share a quick story. And it's so funny. Like the first weekend in January, my husband and I were driving to breakfast, and our area was just so jam packed. The parking lot, we have a lot of mountain bikers. The parking lot was full. And my husband was like, "What do you think is going on here?" And I said, babe, it's January. Everybody is exercising right now. Everybody is out and about, and everybody is just on it." And then, like, seriously, last weekend, I, was out. I go walking on my trail every day, and the parking lot was like definitely half full. So it is so normal to just come out of the gates running, come out full steam, and then by mid month, you're just kind of like, oh my God, that's tiring. And so what I want to first say is that it's just normal. It's normal to go through that. I know I have. And what I would love to just share is, if that's you, first give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. And one thing you can do is, when you're feeling like you're running out of steam, just do a little bit of reflection, like, well, what happened? Why am I running out of steam right now? And could it be that you are literally working yourself too much? Could it be literally that you are spending your energy um, working 24/7 to get things going? And so I would say, just take a look at, your calendar. First of all, like, have you just jam packed yourself? So if you have, just recognize that, okay, maybe I need to just slow it down a little bit with all the things that I'm doing. And then the other thing to think about is, maybe coming back to your why. Like, what did you intend for this year? Have you maybe lost a little bit of that? And maybe you're just getting so focused on the tasks of the doing that you are forgetting what it is that you set forth to put out this year. So I would say that just take a step back first. Number one, take a reflection of the first 2 weeks, and just see, what have you done that could be literally making you tired and exhausted and petering out. And then just reframe. Ain't no shame in reframing. You can do that every day. And then a second piece is coming back to your why. Um, I'm all about creating vision boards, and, just having that reminder of, what is it that I'm setting out this year in 2022, and put it up, and just come back to your why. Maybe take a few minutes to reflect and meditate on that. And then the last thing that I want to share with you is, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you trying to go at your goals alone? And that could be another reason why you're kind of petering out. But who are you surrounding yourself with? Do you have somebody that can help hold you accountable, or somebody that is a sounding board for you to help you kind of get re-energized? So those are some things that kind of like come to mind whenever you like start off strong and you're just like, oh my God, I'm tired now. Was that helpful, Bree?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I feel like each and every one of those are something that I like when I think about the past years that I've done with like, especially with the to-do list when you've got like all these tasks, you're like, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this. And then like I feel like if you don't get everything done on your list, you start to be like, oh no, it's over.
Right.
which
Yeah.
which is so much pressure. Um so much pressure to really put on yourself. I feel like I think like I started going with a new idea that even if you take the smallest step of like just a small step of writing something down, or like you said with the vision board, creating that vision board, which I actually have one on the back of my phone. My lock screen is my vision board.
Oh, beautiful.
Which I have to say, everything on my vision board I have right now. So I'm very
Oh,
excited.
that is fantastic.
Yeah, now I need to make a new one.
Yeah.
um, but I really think that everything you're saying here is so helpful. And especially looking back on your why, I think we like sometimes forget why we, maybe picked a word, if you pick words for your resolutions, or like that why to you as a core. And maybe sometimes just reflecting in your why, that's still a step. So I think that's beautiful that you shared that.
Yeah. And I think, anytime that I'm feeling ungrounded or disconnected, or um, just feeling out of sorts, especially when it's coming to like the kind of work I do, really just taking a moment to remember that, to remember like, okay, what's my purpose here? Who do I get to help? And what is important not only to me but to the people that I want to really help, and just kind of getting back to, yeah, getting back to your purpose. And if that's too big of a word, just like, well, what do you enjoy doing? What are you up to?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Um, I actually wanted to ask you because we had talked about this prior to recording as well, that you, or I know that you actually pick a word for the year as well, right?
Yes, I do. I sure do.
Ah, I would love to hear if you're willing or open to share that your word for the year.
Oh, absolutely. My word for the year is expansion.
Oh,
And yeah, and I chose that because it's really my first full year in business. I'd been doing the side hustling thing for a while. And so for me, this is my first full year. And so I am just in a year of growth, um, not only with my business, but just also with me. Um, I really feel like I want to be in learning mode more so for things that I'm interested in. I'm an artist, and I have not taken a creative course in so long. So it is definitely my year to expand in my artwork and my creativity. And I'm also interested in, just continuing and being on the self-development journey. I believe as a coach it's also imperative to continue to work on yourself, right? So that you can be there for your clients. And so expansion to me is all encompassing of learning, getting out of that comfort zone, trying new things, and just, you know, being in that open space.
Oh, I love that so much. I think that I feel just within my soul, hearing you say that, I can see you just going like that expansion's gonna be so huge where when you get to 2023, you're gonna be like, look at all these things that happened.
Uh, yes. Yes. And how about you, Bree? What do you have a word for 2022 already? I couldn't remember.
Yes, actually, it was funny because I was talking to Rachel in the last episode, or actually,
Yes.
yeah. And so we were talking and she made me think of the term safety and what it means to me.
Mm.
Because for me, like I finally feel in a place where I have taken my voice back and my power back. Um, and now I want to work on letting some walls down that are, you know, it's still boundaries where I need to have them, but walls down that can show me that I'm safe. So I want to learn more
Mm.
about safety and feeling safe with myself. And I feel like, this podcast kind of started off that for me. Like when I first started this, I was scared, very, very scared. And now when I do it, you you can't really tell versus like if you were to listen to the first episode.
Oh.
So it's just finding more in safety.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I hear you about the first time, right? I feel like the first time I ever did a live, and I go back to that and I hear that and it's like, oh my goodness. But it's just progress, right? We're all works in progress. And look at you now. You started your podcast in 2020. It's 2022. And yeah, that is beautiful.
Thank you. Speaking of this, I would love for you to share like what's some advice you would give somebody that maybe is afraid to take either a risk or even going live or just in general taking that step that seems scary? What advice would you give someone?
Yeah, that is such a great question. And so this is what I do whenever I'm scared. Um, and this is just going to sound so silly, but I just ask myself, am I going to die? Am I going to hurt somebody if I do this thing? And the answer has always been no. And I think if we can just muster up the few seconds of courage to do the thing, and just take that, like you said, take that baby step. It doesn't matter. And just be in action. I bet you chances are you will find that it definitely wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. And then you will start building that courage muscle to do it again and again and again and again, especially if it is, all in alignment with what your message is, what you're up to. You'll just get stronger and stronger. And it just takes a few seconds of courage to take that step. And also, there's really no failure. There is really, truly no such thing as failure. What we have is feedback. What we have is information. And so when I think back to the first time I ever did a live, the first time I ever was interviewed on a podcast, or the first time I ever had to give a presentation, and I think back to how scared I was, but you know what? I did it. And you just, you can just do a little bit of reflection of how did that go? What did I like about what I did? Just doing it. just the fact that you did it, be proud of that. And then, maybe there's one thing that you can change for the next time. But really, truly, for anybody out who's listening, who's out there, I just really want to encourage you to take a step. And if you're going live and you want some practical tips, maybe you make a little outline of what it is that you want to say. And it doesn't need to be long. Maybe you just want to drive one point. You have one thing to say. Share that one thing with all of your heart and then let it go.
I love
And
that.
keep going.
Yeah. I think that it's so funny. I was hearing you say that, and I flashbacked and had a flashback of myself. And I remembered the first episode. I actually did that. I wrote an outline. But then all of a sudden the flow just came. And even though I probably said 50,000 times, I still do it to this day. I just
It's okay.
Yeah. It's still what was beautiful. It still get the message that I wanted out there, and like you said, you just grow, and it's beautiful just being able to reflect on it, and then you end up wanting, like, I feel like as you get to the end of your goal, which really there's not fully an end. There's always just expanding on a goal usually.
Right.
I've noticed that I just want to try something else, and I just throw myself into these, things that if you would have met high school me to now, high school me would have been like, no, that's not that's not happening. But it's just cool to look at growth like that and trust yourself and realize that perfection it doesn't exist.
Right.
And we're allowed to not do everything perfect the first try.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Give yourself permission to make it messy. Done is better than perfect. And I was a graphic designer too. I don't think I ever told you that, Bree, but that
No.
was a past life. That was a former career. And it was kind of like my way of being in the corporate world as an artist. And I just remember one of my teachers, we had to turn assignments in. And this is like back in the day where we just, did things by hand. And he would say to us, done is beautiful. Done is beautiful. Like, stop trying to overwork it and just be done. It's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome that your teacher said that. I think that's so cool. I love that.
Oh yeah, it has stuck with me all these years.
So you actually talked about earlier that you have a book. I'd love for you to share a bit about your program and your book.
Oh, thanks, Bree. Yes, I have a book. It's called Painting Your Path, and I would love to gift a copy to anybody who is, who's in your audience, a copy of my book. And I wrote this book the thought came at the end of 2018 when I knew that, like, where I was in life, career-wise, was not my end game. And I wrote the book as a way for me to kind of process that. And I interviewed 21 women, amazing women, about their journeys, of just, how they decided to take their power back and paint their own path. And really, it's a lot of stories of women who just said, you know what, I'm not living life on my terms. I'm not doing the thing that I really want to do. And so they shared with me their stories, and I created a painting for each of the women, as a gift back to them. And it was using their favorite color, their favorite quote. And so that's also in the book. And then it just really had me, as I was going through this process, it just really had me think about my life and my journey and the things that I have done to get me to the next place, to get me to the next um, pivot evolution in life. And so I created a framework that I would love to just share with your listeners. And this is something that, please feel free to steal it, use it. I hope it helps. But it's my painting your path framework. And that is basically first starting off with your dream, your vision. What is it that you desire to create in this world, in this one precious life that you have? And start with that vision. And then the next step is to decide that, you know what, this vision that I have is worth living, is worth manifesting. And then the third step is really to make a plan. What are the things that I get to do? And who do I get to be in this process of making my vision into a reality? So after you have created your plan, the next step is to be brave. Be brave, muster up that courage, and do the thing. Take that baby action step or big step. Take that action step, be brave, and work your plan. Plan your work your plan. And then the last step in my framework is to pause. Take a step back and reflect. Well, how did my week go? How did my month go? Did I do the things that I said I would do to help make this vision a reality? So those are the 5 steps of my process. And at the foundation of this framework are two big things. The first piece is mindset. I'm not sure if you have read the book Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, but it's an amazing book. And she talks about the growth mindset, of really having that outlook of, you know what, with enough effort, with enough feedback from the right people, by continuing to move in the direction of my vision, I'm going to, my success is inevitable. And just having that growth mindset is a foundation to making all of this happen, as well as self-care, because it is so easy to burn out. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier with I'm starting off the year strong and oh my God, I'm so freaking tired. But having those 2 pieces, I think, is just the foundation to support all of the rest.
Thank you so much for sharing your framework with us. I think that is so helpful and inspiring, and your book sounds amazing. The fact that you sat down with 20 women and even painted for them, I thought that was cool too. Then I just instantly wanted to see the paintings.
Oh yeah.
But also obviously hear their stories too, but it's the inner designer in me that's like, oh, paintings. So
Yes.
that sounds amazing. And thank you for offering your book to one of our lucky listeners. I think that they're going to absolutely gain so much knowledge, and also be so inspired that, so wow, thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure.
Before we end this, I wanted to ask, because I usually have my guests, well, before I was sharing mantras, but now I've had my guests share mantras because I found that it's kind of cool hearing what other people have. So before you go, what mantra or affirmation would you leave with our audience today?
Absolutely. So I love this mantra, and it's simple. 3 words. It is done. It is done. It is done. It is done. And I love that mantra because it really just ties back into to vision and making the decision to move forward, move confidently in the direction of your dreams. And to me, whatever goal I set, whatever, I have on my vision board, I look at it and I just say at the end, it is done. Because I know I expect that whatever I'm putting out in the world, whatever goal I have, it's going to happen. It is already done.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's also, by the way, a title of a book by Richard Dotts, Dotts, and it is a quick read. And so I just thought I would share that as well as a resource for anybody who wants to check it out.
Absolutely. Thank you. I need to check the both the books because I don't think I've read Mindset yet. So I'll have to you actually gave great recommendations, so I'm gonna have to check out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Well, it's been such an honor having you on here. And I'm so thankful that you came.
Thank you so much, Bree, for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun for me too. So with that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and we are happy. Until next time on the future.